What's happening, guys? Welcome back to another video, and today we are going to Collecticon in Charlotte, North Carolina. I've been looking forward to this con for a couple of weeks now because I went to the Southeast Game Exchange where I got my gaming fix, and this was going to be something a little bit different. Collecticon events are held across the country. It's kind of like this traveling event series that lands in major hub cities. And of course, you know, if there's something that's near me that might have some video game collectibles, I've got to make my way down there and see what's up. Now, this is a huge collector event. We're talking Pokemon, Magic the Gathering, comic books, sports cards, some gaming stuff thrown in there as well. And of course, you know that I'm more in on the gaming side, but they had some talent there too. Jason Page, the voice of the Pokemon theme song. It's going to be a packed video. So let's go ahead and dive into it. Now, the first thing you notice about Collecticon is that there is a ton of plush. I'm talking literal mountains of Pokemon. And of course, I had to pick up a little something for the fiance from the pile, a Bidoof, because hey, why not? You've also got your handmade art people too. This hand-knitted Jigglypuff. You've also got the 3D printer people that are out there selling things like Game Boy cart keychains. Had to pick up the Pokemon Red. But then beyond that, this is where you really find your collectibles, your Dragon Ball Zs, your G.I. Joes. And there are literally cards as far as the eye can see. Basically every booth here, aside from 5 or 6, was pretty much dedicated entirely to buying or trading or selling cards. And of course, I'm wandering around trying to find the games myself, which I did eventually find. But if you're into the collector side of things when it comes to Pokemon, this is the place to go. This is your mecca, and you will find pretty much anything you're looking for. I know we went with a friend that found $200 worth of stuff that they were looking for their collection, and those were singles. I'm not talking packs. But of course, I did find the games eventually. Now, I wasn't hunting for anything in particular this weekend. I was just kind of there to enjoy the show and see what I could find, and I'm always hoping for some pop culture stuff. Ran across a couple of Nintendo Powers. We'll see if I picked any of these up, but it's just cool to see these ads in these magazines really make their way to the show floors. But the consoles were out there as well. Now, this is not a gaming-centric event, but an entire table of consoles was floating around on the show floor, on top of plenty of retro representation too. SNES, NES, 3DS, obviously tons of Game Boy, DS. Anything that you're looking for in that kind of vein, you can probably find somebody that's got something you would be interested in. Now, I was going to meet some people like Charles Martinet, the voice of Mario, and Chuck Norris, but this entire half of the convention center was reserved for meet and greets, and these lines were wild. So I had to take a pass, but man, what a crowd. But Jason Page wasn't just there for meet and greets. He was there to perform. And let me tell you, you've never felt energy in a room quite like when the dude that sings the Pokemon theme song goes up on stage in a crowd of hardcore 90s kids to sing the Pokemon theme song. But by far the wildest thing that happened yesterday was that on top of all of these collectors that are buying and selling games and Pokemon cards and all this other stuff, the Ying Yang Twins from the early 2000s were performing at Collecticon. And it was incredible. Why they were chosen, I have no idea. But I'm also not really complaining. But after the concert, things were winding down. We hit a couple of more booths, and after about 6 hours on the show floor, we hit the road. And of course, you know, I had to pick up a couple of things, starting off with this Half-Life shirt that I'm wearing for this video. I saw this and immediately knew I had to have it. And I'll throw the link up right here for the guys that made these, but this was a super high quality print. And of course, it's not official Valve merch, but the quality, the look, the feel, this is a shirt that I'll definitely be wearing in future videos for sure. But the main thing they were selling there was tons of customized Pokemon merch that looked like McDonald's, Wendy's, KFC. They kind of mixed and matched this pop culture thing, and it worked out really well. They were selling these things like hotcakes, but like I said, not super into Pokemon, so I went with the Half-Life, because why not? Next up, we got a couple of game pickups, starting with BioShock Infinite. This was $3 in one of the bargain bins, and one of my dirty secrets is that I never actually played through all of BioShock Infinite. I loved 1, I loved 2, I never fully finished Infinite. Not that I didn't like it, I guess just other stuff came up. That was back in my Call of Duty era. We're grown now. We can really get back into it. Now, a couple of other reasons why I picked this one up. Number one, the Xbox 360 Marketplace is going away. In fact, it's already gone away, and I made a video on that a couple of weeks ago if you want to check that out. But that's not to say this is more difficult to buy digitally, because it is backwards compatible on the Xbox Series X and S. So if you want to buy a digital copy, you totally still can without any problem. But even so, seeing that marketplace go away and then seeing the physical side of the Xbox 360 collecting world really skyrocket in price convinced me to go ahead and pick this one up for $3. Again, $3 for a killer game. I'm not complaining. Now, next up we have Tetris 2, and I don't think this is a very good game. I don't know too much about it, but I feel like I remember a collecting video a couple of years ago saying that this was pretty much a flop. However, it's a really good condition cart, and I'm a huge Tetris guy. It's one of those games that really got me into gaming back on the Game Boy Color, and I've just kind of continued to carry that with me through the years. I love Tetris 99 on the Switch, I love stuff like Tetris Effect Connected, and so to see one of these, kind of a history piece of the Tetris lore, for $7, come on, no brainer. Another reason I picked this one up is because I'm slowly but surely getting more into the retro side of collecting. I picked up TMNT at Siege a couple of weeks ago, but I don't really have anything to easily play these on. I have an original Nintendo up in the closet, but a lot of these emulators are able to play SNES, NES, Genesis, stuff like that. So I'm kind of looking into buying one of those, and if anybody has any suggestions of one that's really good on like a 4K TV, I'd love to hear it in the comment section down below. Now, if you've been around for a while, you'll know I love retro gaming magazines. Nintendo Power, Game Pro, Game Informer, EGM, anything like that, I'm always down to check out and pick up. And so I found 3 Nintendo Powers that I wanted to get. I just missed one that was a Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2 Nintendo Power. I literally had it in my hand, set it down, and somebody else snatched it. I will never forgive myself for that. The first one is the Virtual Boy, and the colors on this thing just pop. That's what originally caught my eye, but the Virtual Boy is such an interesting piece of Nintendo's history because it was really the first consumer VR headset, but it was horrible. It gave people headaches, people did not like it, it was a commercial flop. But the cool thing is, in here you can see where you could get one from Blockbuster and rent it for $10. So if you wanted to give it a shot, that's how you could go about doing it. Again, it's like a time capsule. What was going on when the Virtual Boy was coming out? This magazine is going to tell you that. So I love just skimming through them, flipping through them, seeing what was happening during those times. Then we have the Metroid Fusion Nintendo Power, and this one was not in great shape. The cover was kind of falling off, but I came home and taped it up. I'm not a professional repairman, but I put it back together as best I could. Metroid Fusion is one of those Game Boy Advance games that is just legendary. If you find one of the cards, which I've got one somewhere in the collection that I got at a garage sale for I think $2 back like 10 years ago, it's very, very collectible. It's a pretty high dollar one compared to some of the more casual stuff you can find, but very good Metroid game. And to see this one on the cover, again, just pops a little bit of Tony Hawk up here in the corner combined with the Metroid. You know I had to go in for that one. Finally, we have a January 1995 Nintendo Power, and the reason this one caught my eye is the Play It Out Loud ad on the back. I love this because this is when Nintendo put better speakers in the Game Boy. Originally, the sound was horrendous, and so now they've got better speakers, play it out loud, you've got louder volume, that kind of thing. Love seeing captured in the history of the magazine. But this is also kind of like a built-in slip cover. This is the actual cover of the January 1995 Nintendo Power. And having this cover on it through the years not only made this one have that worn and torn kind of look, not that it's in bad shape, killer shape for what it is, this is just a glorious little piece of history right here. There is no fading, there is no wear and tear. It is like you just picked it up from any kind of bookstore magazine shelf. Love seeing this kind of thing. And of course, all 3 of these have the posters, the inserts. The Virtual Boy even has some 3D art cards that would show you what 3D looked like if you had a pair of glasses back in the day. That stuff is just such a cool slice of history, and James Parker in the Facebook Video Game Collectors group really hooked me up with these, so shout out to James for making it happen. And the last pickup of the day was a 2009 convention-exclusive Dante's Inferno comic book. And if you never played Dante's Inferno, it was pretty much a one-to-one rip of God of War. That's basically what it was. You played as Dante, you're going after your wife Beatrice, trying to get her out of hell. This is a really, really good game. But this was given away as promotional material, and I don't know if you guys can see based on how it's in the sleeve, This is all of like 5 pages long. It is not a long comic book, and it was actually half off at the con, so $8 down to $4. But for $4, my brother-in-law went ahead and said, hey man, here's a gift for you. Pick it up, enjoy. So having something like this is, again, hitting that advertising thing for me, because this is really just creative marketing, but it's solid all the way through. Got some good art, nothing too crazy, but nice to have in the collection, and I might throw it up in a frame and switch out some of the comics that I already have hanging up. And that's Collecticon Charlotte 2024. My time there, my pickups, it was a fantastic time all around. And even though I'm not a big Pokemon guy or Magic the Gathering guy, I still found cool stuff to buy. But beyond that, the reason I love going to cons is seeing the passion of the people that are there. Because you had cosplayers, you had people with tons of Mario merch lining up to get Charles Martinet to sign stuff. You had Dragon Ball Z fans lined up all the way down the side of the convention wall. They love this stuff. And being in a room with people that have that same shared passion of pop culture, gaming, any kind of stuff like that, I just love spending time there. Of course, if you made it all the way to the end of the video, I hope you enjoyed the Collecticon 2024 experience. I'm going to more events like this, so if you enjoy this kind of content, hit that subscribe button for more videos every single week and gaming news shorts throughout the week to keep you in the loop. And I'll catch you on the next one.